Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host Jacob Morris and we have a lot of nature in the news stories for you on this week's episode. We'll be talking about the record amounts of snow in the Sierra Nevadas and the history of daylight saving time. Matt Honig also has a feature for you giving you a look behind the scenes here at Whether or Not. All that more Whether or Not starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Whether or Not. I'm Matt Honig and I'll be your forecaster this evening. We'll get to some stories with Jordan Jenna, Jacob Morse, Mike Susko, and Patrick Wright in just a couple of moments, but we're going to start the show a little bit differently this evening and give you a look at the weekend forecast. So let's get right into it. Coming up for the day on Friday, we're going to have a weak system move to our south. On the north side of this system, we could see a pretty light swath of snow across Pennsylvania, not talking about any major accumulations whatsoever. However, there will be just a steady light snow throughout the day on Friday. That will wrap up Friday evening, and come Saturday, we'll see some high pressure start to build in from the north. That'll bring with it some sunshine, just a few afternoon clouds developing, and temperatures a little bit more mild than they have been lately. I know temperatures have been very below average for many, temperatures only in the 20s and 30s when we should be in the 40s this time of year. I think we'll get into the 40s come Saturday. Then a system developing across the Midwest moves into our region for Sunday, and we will be on the warm side of this system, so most of the precipitation across Pennsylvania will fall in the form of rain during the day on Sunday, and temperatures could even get up into the 40s and perhaps even 50s in some parts of Pennsylvania. So it seems like March wants to sort of knock on the door here this weekend, but we're not totally out of the woods as we head into next week. So recapping the weekend for you, some light snow across the region on Friday, temperatures getting up just above freezing here in State College and generally middle 30s across most of Pennsylvania. Those snow showers wrap up Friday evening, temperatures fall back into the lower 20s, clearing skies overnight, and that'll set us up for some sunshine during the day on Saturday. We'll see some high clouds start to filter in ahead of that system for Sunday, but no precipitation to talk about whatsoever during the day on Saturday. It should be a very nice day and much more mild than what it's been recently. Highs across Pennsylvania generally in the middle 40s, 44 here in State College. Then for the day on Sunday, we'll see that cloud cover start to really roll in, and by the morning hours, we should be seeing some steady rain. That will taper off to some showers during the afternoon hours. 46 here in State College I have for a high, but across other parts of central and eastern Pennsylvania, temperatures could get into the 50s during Sunday morning before falling in the afternoon. Unfortunately, that will set us up for some cooler weather come Monday and Tuesday. All right, that's the weekend forecast. Let's get to nature in the news.
One of the most visited national parks in the nation turned 100 last week. The Grand Canyon National Park was established February 26th in 1919 and today receives nearly 6 million visitors each year. The park is larger than the state of Rhode Island, with the canyon itself measuring 277 miles long, 18 miles wide, and 1 mile deep in some places. This geologic marvel came to be by the gentle patience of the Colorado River slowly eroding away the rock as it makes its way to the Gulf of California in Mexico. As a result of this, the canyon is one of the most archaeological and geologically active regions on the planet in terms of research. The canyon itself has taken millions of years to form. Estimates range from 6 million to 80 million years to get to this point in its life, depending on what river and what section of the canyon you choose.
New research has recently found that greenhouse gases are preventing the formation of clouds in the sky. With less clouds in the sky, the pace of global warming will increase significantly. Increased amounts of carbon in the atmosphere begins to break down lower-level clouds closer to Earth's surface. As clouds continue to be eliminated, Earth could experience rapid increases of global temperature as high as 14 degrees. Researchers discovered this cloud elimination problem through new supercomputer calculations.
Over the past several weeks, atmospheric river events have been pummeling parts of California with several feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains, as well as causing flooding in some of the lower elevations due to excessive amounts of rain. Atmospheric rivers carry large amounts of water vapor from the tropics to other parts of the world. When these atmospheric river events make landfall, such as with the coast of California, and especially when they reach the Sierra Nevada mountains, the air rises and water vapor falls in the form of either rain or snow. The atmospheric rivers throughout the month of February have shattered snow records at some ski resorts in the Sierra Nevadas. A sensor at Nevada's Mount Rose ski area estimated a whopping 26.6 feet of snow cover at an elevation of 8,850 feet. These record amounts of snow are important for California's water supply in the spring and summer when all the snow melts. As of February 26, the statewide water content of the Sierra Nevada snowpack was estimated to be about 41% above average. Hopefully this will help California to erase some of the drought that it has been experiencing over the past several years.
Meteorologists and climatologists base seasons off annual temperature cycle. Meteorological spring occurs from March 1st to May 31st, while the summer is June 1st to August 31st, fall September to November, and finally winter, December to February. Because the Earth takes a little more than 365 days to completely travel around the sun, an extra day is added to the calendar every 4 years, and we call this leap year. That extra day causes the solstices and equinoxes to change their date often. Also, the exact length of the seasons can vary between 89 to 93 days because of the Earth's elliptical-shaped orbit. Changes in the season's length and start dates would make climatological record-keeping an absolute nightmare. To make the climate statistics easier to examine, the meteorological seasons were born.
Scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory are getting closer to figuring out how life on Earth began. It is theorized that life on our humble planet began deep in the ocean's depths, along fractures in the Earth's crust, which allowed for heated rock and minerals to seep out to the ocean floor. The research focuses on recreating these conditions in a lab with the makeup of the Earth's primordial oceans. The basic building blocks of life include organic compounds and amino acids, and when combined in the right conditions and combinations, can form the proteins that make up all living things. The goal with this research is to figure out how life formed here on Earth in order to help better understand the conditions life needs to thrive on other planets.
Google announced on February 26 that it has made energy data produced by wind farms more valuable by collaborating with a company named DeepMind, London-based artificial intelligence software. Google is now able to schedule specific times of energy output. This is more valuable than standard-based outputs that are not capable of providing scheduled times of energy output. Google works with many wind farms located in the Midwest. With their collaboration efforts, the company is able to find the energy of wind output more valuable by making it more predictable. This approach creates more data that wind farm operators can use to make smarter, more efficient data-driven assessments on how energy output can reach the demand of electricity.
Over the past couple of weeks, several heavy rainfall events have triggered flooding in cities along the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. For instance, the Ohio River at Paducah, Kentucky, which is in western Kentucky, reached a major flood stage on February 24th and is projected to slowly decrease its level over the coming weeks. Luckily, some cities around the Mississippi and Ohio rivers have levees and flood walls to protect the flooding from affecting most parts of the cities. Additionally, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet dumped nearly 5,000 tons of sand in Smithfield, Kentucky to help them build up their flood wall. Unfortunately, some areas still flooded as houses, businesses, and roads were left underwater. Some mudslides were also triggered as a result of the excessive rainfall. One of them closed a part of Interstate 24 in Kentucky. A statewide emergency was also declared by Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin in order to help mobilize state resources to cities and counties dealing with these flooding issues.
This Saturday night, do not forget to spring ahead 1 hour before going to bed. The annual tradition of daylight saving time is practiced throughout most of the United States, with the only exceptions being portion of Arizona and the entire state of Hawaii. The original idea of daylight saving time was actually a satirical essay written by Benjamin Franklin in 1784. It was not until World War I when the countries Austria-Hungary and Germany actually adopted the idea. Today, 40% of the world adjust their clocks to gain that extra hour of sunlight in the summer months.
Each week during the fall and spring semesters at Penn State, we film and produce Whether or Not. The magic starts right here in this room. Here we have various computers where we write stories and also create forecasts. The stories we write are usually about interesting weather events that occur around the globe, but whenever possible we try to focus in on Pennsylvania. Both the host and the forecaster will write at least 2 stories that will air on each show. The forecaster will also prepare a forecast for the weekend, as well as one that will peek into the following week. From there we head down to the control room and studio, and this is where the producer will film the show and control all the cameras and graphics. The host and forecaster will typically start by sitting at the desk, introducing the show and previewing the upcoming forecast. The green screen you see allows us to create our own virtual studio custom designed for Whether or Not. From there we'll go into Nature and the News. The host and forecaster will take turns presenting their stories. Next we'll reveal the Weather Whiz quiz question. This question will typically have something to do with interesting weather in Pennsylvania or something interesting about the current season that we're in. Be sure to write your answer down. We'll reveal the answer to the question later in the show. Up next is the weekend forecast. The forecaster will typically show the weather pattern for the weekend, followed by the conditions and temperatures for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If severe weather is on the way, we will let you know how it will impact your weekend. Another person on the team is responsible for the feature. The feature is usually about some interesting weather topic that directly impacts Pennsylvania. A person will typically go out into the field with a camera and record video of things that pertain to their topic. We also try to interview experts on the topic, accurately informing and educating our viewers like you. To close the show, we'll come back to the studio to take a look at the extended forecast, as well as reveal the answer to the Weather Whiz quiz question, and finally conclude the show. But after all that, we're still not done. Afterwards, the producer will come back up here to this room and assemble the show into video editing software. The producer will then send the show off to our friends at CNET to air the following weekend for you at home to enjoy. For Whether or Not, I'm Matt Honig.
Well, that was certainly a lot of interesting stories we had there, but personally, Jacob, one of my favorites was the one you did on the atmospheric rivers in the Sierra Nevada snowpack. And speaking of which, earlier we asked you the Weather Whiz quiz question.
It was, what is the record number of consecutive days with snow on the ground in State College? Was it A, 50, B, 73, C, 87, or D, 99? If you answered C, 87 days, you are tonight's winner. That's almost 3 months with more than a coating or more of snow on the ground, Mike, and that's a long time. But I would personally be okay with that. I'm a snow lover, so having a snow on the ground for that long of a time would be okay with me. I don't know. How about you?
I would have to disagree with you on that. I'm not. I love the snow. Don't get me wrong, but I'm one of those people that you get that one good snowstorm, lasts a couple of days, and then it has to be 70 degrees, or I'm not happy. So these last couple of months after the one we got back in November, after that storm, I was done. So
we have a couple more months of March though, so we do have some more chances for a couple more storms. We'll see if we get any of those with these next couple of weeks, but I'm sure that you're rooting for spring to arrive a little bit sooner, I'm sure.
Yes, but thankfully, as we learned today earlier this past weekend, it was the beginning of meteorological spring, so spring is almost on its way.
That is a good sign for you, people that like those warmer temperatures like you, Mike. Yeah. All right, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Jacob Morse.
And I'm Mike Susko.
Have a great night, everyone.